Okay, so here are some other things we can do to the voice. Now we can see here that I've got some peaks and some troughs. I go up here and I go down here and I go up here. And I'd like to have this as a much more even sound, a much more controlled, constantly good sound, so that whenever I'm broadcasting it, people don't have to turn down the volume because I'm too loud and then turn the volume up because I'm too quiet. And the way I do that is by applying compression. Dynamic compression. And remember, there is a PowerPoint up on the Moodle that will take you through this. So what I do is I highlight my audio and
hello and welcome to Boom Radio's Top 5.
And we can see some of the levels going up. If I go back to the start there, you can see the peak.
Hello and welcome.
Goes right up here and then it dips all the way down there. I'd like to have that more even. So what I do is highlight my audio, go to Audio Suite, Dynamics, Compressor. Now there'll be notes, PowerPoint that'll take you through everything, but we can see here, if I press play down here to preview, we can see that as the audio goes above minus 24 dB, louder, it gets turned down. And it gets turned down by the amount of our ratio. If I've got my ratio much higher, it gets turned down 15 to 1, i.e., as louder it gets turned down by 15 dB. And our knee is how hard or soft. That brings it in. So if I've got a really soft knee, it will start applying the compression before the threshold. The attack is how soon, let me stop that, is how soon the compressor comes in. Okay, now for speech, we would always have that as very, very fast. And the release is how soon the compression is released. Again, very fast for speech. And again then is we are turning down loudness. We're turning down the loud part. So everything above a certain threshold will turn down. That means everything appears much more even, flatter. That means we can then turn our gain up to bring the whole volume up, including the quiet parts, up to the loud parts. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's check what threshold first of all. So we're looking to bring down just some sounds. We don't want to compress everything. We want to really just be taking the edge off it. Let me go back to the start again. Highlight our audio, hit play, and there we can see we could take it a bit down, but we're not taking down on everything, just taking down the loud parts. Certain loud parts, we want those coming down. We don't want to change the sound at all. We don't want to hear the compression. We just want to know that it was there. So I'm going to bring it down maybe minus 10, and I think not such a big ratio. And there we are. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up my gain. And now we can see our audio, our output signal going up. And I might bring it up a bit more. I'm going to bring it up to about minus 3. Now we know that this then is going to stay without getting too loud. Let me just bypass it. I'll switch it off. We know it won't go too loud because I've taken the edge off it. I've stopped it from getting too loud. Now I'm going to hit render and you shall see this effect. And we can see there now a very strong, steady signal all the way along. Continually good, continually strong, never dipping, never going too loud, always just staying a nice, strong signal. When we listen to it,
hello and welcome to Boom Radio's Top 5.
We don't hear the compression. It sounds just as it did, but we know it has happened. For instance, if I do Control Z to undo and I compress too much, okay, let's bring it down a slightly ridiculous amount if I can get hold of this. Oh, we're frozen. Oh, there we go. Okay, here we go. I'm going to bring it down too much. Bring up, frozen again. Can wait. Nope. Frozen again. There we go. I'm going to bring the gain up.
Hello.
And if I preview it,
welcome to Boom Radio's Top 5.
You can hear it's too muffled. It's too muffled. We've turned it down too much. I can bring that volume way up, but it's going to sound too muffled.
When we're asleep, where do we go?
I had the bypass on there, and the bypass takes the effect off. I was only while it was sounding normal.
With his classic hit,
And we can hear it. Really muffled. All the loud part, the quiet parts are brought up too loud.
It's Childish Gambino.
But what we did here there was the big risk. The big risk being that we are turning it. We've turned up the gain, so we've turned up too much of the quiet. The hiss that is there, we've also brought up, and that is the risk. The risk in us dealing with compression is to make sure we bring up the audio loud enough so that it's nice and even, but not too compressed so that we bring up all the quiet. We can see there the quiet from being -60 is now brought up to about -30. All the hiss is there. All the hiss we can hear. And you can hear that. So we don't want to do that. So the idea is that we find a threshold that we like. Let's bring that gain down. And fast attack. And we find somewhere that we think, yes, we're applying some compression. Not too much. And then we can bring our gain up. And we can see they're hitting -3.
When we're asleep, where do we go?
Nice. Not too much hiss. Making sure that we've got everything there. And I might just hit render. And we can see there is our even signal.